This man right here that you see beyond the shoulder of the man in front of me seems to be the guy around here who knows what's happening. He told me I wait for about 7 o'clock and then the bus will get here, because apparently it's not a mini bus, but a regular bus. I don't know who he is. He doesn't have any official look to him, but he knows everybody, walks around, helps everybody, directs traffic, moves buses, gets people out of the way of the buses when the buses are trying to get in. So now I'm on the bus for Petrelë, and hopefully, presumably, I just take the same bus back. This is where I exited my long hike. These are all houses on the way up to Petrelë Castle. And it looks like this area down below is trying to be made into a tourist area. There are several faux castles. So what this says is Kalaja, however you pronounce it, and arrow, and it's done in steel, and there's the castle, and this must be the way. I'm pretty sure that these are all olive trees, but very old ones, as you can see. The way they grow, and then apparently they're pruned as they either die off or whatever, and the remnant continues to grow. Well, there's the entrance to the castle, but can't get entry. This, I think, is another one of those olive press stones. It's interesting how the old olive tree bases mimic these limestone, I assume they're limestone weathered cliff and rock formations, where they're hollowed out almost in a similar fashion. Tell me that the castle doesn't open up until 11. It's just a little bit after 8, which is a bummer. So we'll traipse around for 2 hours, spend an hour eating in the cafe if there is one. I'm sure there is, and then go in the castle. Once you get away from the main square, it's pretty gnarly, pretty rough, and I'm sure it's all in the process of being reconstructed. It looks like a new house being built here. Nothing like hauling bags of cement up here in the Mercedes. Notice these narrow blocks, whether they come naturally like this or have to be cut, I don't know, are what are used to build the main part of the house. The fencing, of course, built with native stone. And I can only assume it's got another floor at least to go. This wall is all new, and as part of its construction, every little waves is a bench for people to relax. Well, it creates a nice arbor when all that vines grow over the top there. When you've got 3 hours to blow you didn't expect, it's one of those times when you have to ask myself, and so what would I be doing if I were home? And of course, I'd be doing the same ordinary stuff I always do, whatever it is. So here's just a new opportunity to explore in kind of intimate detail the community that lives here. Little alleyway that goes down to the square. My guess is that all of us in this area here are perched on this little knoll I'm not sure if this road's going to get me up there or not. There may just be a canyon between here and there, but nothing else to do. Notice that this house is being built on. Simple way to do it is to add the stairway to the outside, which was probably built at the time that the first floor was built and lived in. It's a way of expanding upward as you need to, as your family grows or whatever. Pretty little grass yard in front. And again, this idea of covering what appear to be new arbor structures with vines. All this seems to be a new idea here now. But imagine how pretty that will be when it's all filled in richly. It may be another generation before that happens. I don't know how long it takes for vines to grow. But all of that for a relatively modest house. I feel a little bit like Michael Corleone, aimlessly wandering mountain paths on some kind of a forced sabbatical. Okay, so I'm fantasizing. This is steep country living. Now, who would live up there, and what do you do for a living other than you're wealthy enough to simply hang out up here, I guess? That small, discreet cemetery looks like it might just serve one family. Well, in any country, you'd think this has to be a pretty expensive, large home. Spectacular views from up here of this mountainous area. I'm wondering if that property owner has bought all of this. Was it an old farm? This portion sure has that look of it. And yet behind those trees is another large house, it looks like. And here's some pretty heavy-duty piping. Modern for sure. All of this coming from up this pathway. Since this road's blocked, I'll take it. But here's the path, also blocked, going to that house, so perhaps there's a different road than this one to it. But I'm getting my wish to go on a hike. This looks like it would have been a road or trail used in the past, but maybe it's just for this water infrastructure that you see on the ground. And this protective coiling for the water pipe where it's so much exposed, I guess. There are two large tanks that I can hear water rushing into, one or both of them. Perhaps there's a pump house there, but I wonder where the water comes unless it's somehow just deep inside the mountain. I'm guessing that that's just the outskirts of Tirana. The views, for what they are, must be magnificent up here. And there are a number of large homes being built here. Whether these are wealthy Albanians or Albanians that support the cynicism of the populace, of political corruption, or wealthy foreigners, don't know. But down there, more modest, multiple unit dwellings, as there are in the distance. There's the big house I passed, and I didn't notice until now. There's an equally large house, although not as nicely designed as the one I first saw beyond it. Notice how these mountains appear to be, from the striations that are running the length of the mountain, upturned plate, almost vertical. This may be the only view I get if I have to wait too long before I can get in, and then have to wait a long time for the bus.